This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals at your service. We are at the KFAB studio in downtown Dundee, bringing you a show that is unlike any other one in the metro area because we talk about business, real estate, construction, economic development, fun things if you care about Omaha becoming more vibrant and more prosperous. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Well, my co-host Trenton Magid has the weekend off, and so we have a guest in his place, my colleague from NAI NP Dodge, Brian Thomas. Good morning, Brian. Welcome back.
Hey, man. Good morning.
Well, it's good to have you back. A few months ago, you substituted for Trenton, and you must have done a pretty good job because you were right there on the top of the list for a callback.
Yeah, to steal a Mike Greenberg from ESPN, I'm back and better than ever, baby.
yes, you are. And speaking of sports, this is a big day in Omaha. We've got an Elite 8 team in our town.
Yeah, we do, man. The city is excited. I'm excited. For those who will go back and watch this on our YouTube channel, which, you need to, once again, like and subscribe.
Amen.
But I am rocking the blue and white today, letting it fly.
Well, Creighton defeated Princeton 86-75 last night in Louisville, Kentucky, Sweet 16 game. That puts them in the Elite 8, which means on Sunday afternoon they play
San Diego State, who just upset number 1 Alabama. So they were looking pretty on fire yesterday.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you live in an Elite 8 kind of town. So, and this is the first time. I think this is the first time we've ever had a team from the state of Nebraska make it this far.
Yeah, they are fired up. I mean, I'll tell you, Coach McDermott last night had to actually take, help me out here.
Kalkbrenner.
Yeah,
the center.
Yeah,
7'1".
7'1", 265-pound real man who was angry dunking on people last night after they questioned whether he lifted weights or not.
Well, I'm glad he got a little angry because there was a period toward the end of the first half where they were getting to him. The other team was getting to him, and then apparently he had enough.
Yeah,
then took control over the game, and thank God he did for Creighton.
Yeah, my middle son said, "Daddy, that's a real man." Yeah, I'm like, yeah, he's a real man. He's out there getting business done. The whole team looked good. They could not miss last night.
A very tall, real man.
Yes.
Well, let's go into our news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com is where you can find them online. If you want to stop by the office, no problem. Monday through Friday, business hours, normal business hours, 114th and Davenport, which is just south of 114th and Dodge. But when you get there, you're going to want to talk to them about a home loan. FHA, VA, and of course, conventional loans. And they're very, very customer service focused. So they like to sit down with the borrower or the would-be borrower and kind of really go through what you're doing and help you figure out what is the best route for you to go financing-wise, get you that pre-approval letter, which is so important because I tell you what, there was an article in this week's Grow Omaha newsletter by Joe Finley from NP Dodge, who does our residential market report. And he said, hey, these home prices are declining nationwide, but not really here. The market is still very, very strong here. So you're going to want to have a good mortgage broker behind you like Eagle Mortgage. EagleMortgageCompany.com. All right, Brian, let's get into the news of the week. The first news item is Lutheran Family Services, which is a very large, effective, long-standing nonprofit here in Omaha. They are moving their headquarters Monday. For seemingly ever, they have been in the Dunklaw building, 24th Street between Dodge and Douglas. And starting Monday, they're moving to 7929 West Center Road. Why is that our lead story? Well, I'll tell you. The Dunklaw building, that site has been sold to a Minneapolis-based developer. And I went on their website and looked at their projects, and I saw the preponderance of their projects, urban buildings, kind of what we call them 4-over-1s, where you have the concrete pedestal and then 4 stories of wood frame above that. We're building these in urban Omaha like crazy right now. So Brian, this is cool because it's yet another sign that the development in the urban core and along the orbit line and along the street car line is going to accelerate and not slow down.
Absolutely. I mean, I know for many of us out there, we were really in tune with what Mayor Stothert was talking about this week when she kind of outlined everything that's been going on over the course of the year and then laid out the strategic roadmap for this coming year and years that are going to go beyond. And investment in the urban core, continued redevelopment in that area that's only going to be a benefit and a help, to the entire metro area and more broadly speaking, the state.
Well, and if you look at this particular site, the current orbit line runs along the north edge of it.
It does, yeah.
The future streetcar is 2 blocks to the south. And we know that Metro Area Planning Agency and Metro, the transit company, are actively studying a north-south orbit line that we understand would go right along 24th Street. So you could see more and more of this sort of thing happening, and it's encouraging. And what's cool about this to me is this is a property, no offense to Lutheran Family Services, which was there for a long time, was kind of a very underwhelming 2-level.
It didn't wow anybody.
No, it wasn't that nice looking.
No, I mean, It wasn't.
And it was also a property that a lot of people probably didn't even occur to them. Oh, wow, we might redevelop that. You tend to think of the redevelopment as more high-profile properties, but you think about it, shoot, there's a half dozen or more properties in that part of downtown that the same thing could happen to them.
I don't think it's a matter of if, just a matter of when. I know the chamber has been really, really engaged with outreach, trying to reach out to some of these other players to come in and then do some of the great work like what's being done right now.
It's going to be fun to watch. It is fun to watch. Well, Brian, you mentioned Mayor Stothart's State of the City address, which took place Tuesday earlier this week in the city council chambers. One of the things that she said in that address that jumped out to me was this, quote, "In May, we will see the design for the Civic Auditorium development on the planning board agenda," end quote. And I think a lot of us have been anxious about that. There was talk, there was a preliminary site plan and kind of like an artist rendering that White Lotus had put out maybe, a year or two ago?
It's probably like 18 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, but this seems like it's getting more serious and moving forward. And, that's a big piece of land that has nothing on it downtown.
Right.
So we're excited to get that going. Another thing she said, which is not really news, but it's kind of fun to talk about it. She was talking about her time in office, and she said from the moment she started in June of 2013 to the end of last year, so almost 10 years, during that period of time, it's kind of a cool piece of trivia, the city of Omaha has issued more than 165,000 building permits for a total value of $9.5 billion. Decent amount of activity over the last 9.5 years. All right, let's see what's next. Brian, those people who were listening the last time you guest co-hosted on the show know that before you started in commercial real estate, you had a very long and distinguished career with the Air Force. So it's really appropriate that I'm going to throw this out here right now.
Sure.
The U.S. Air Force held a ribbon cutting last month for the newly refurbished Allman Maintenance Facility at Offutt Air Force Base. And this is where work is done on the E-48 Night Watch, the airborne command and control jet. $27 million project, took 2 years to do it, but this was part of that flooding back in 2019 that caused the renovation to be necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, for those who are listening and will view later, I mean, you'll remember some of those stark images, as the water came on the southeastern side of Offutt Air Force Base, and one of the only structures that wasn't 18 feet underwater was that hangar complex, although it took a massive amount of water in the facility. So, the Air Force and really the state of Nebraska really tried to line up the runway resurfacing and reconstruction project to coincide with the rebuild of the hangar so that when we brought the aircraft back, both the RC-135s and then the E-4B, as well as a few other aircraft back to Offutt Air Force Base, that it wouldn't be that much longer before this maintenance facility would be reopened up. Another noteworthy thing that happened as part of the broader rebuild of that quadrant of the base is that they just recently broke ground on one of the Air Forces, if not it will be like the newest state-of-the-art facility for its security forces unit. So it's going to house, instead of being disparately located across the installation, they're going to have an indoor shooting range at state-of-the-art. They're going to have the canine working dog facilities, as well as where all the base defense operations center, also known as the BDOC.
And that's on base.
That's
property.
on base proper, correct?
Okay. And any idea how long it'll take to build that? Probably maybe a year or so?
Yeah, it's going to be about a year, and then they're going to the mega project, if you will, is they're building kind of what they colloquially know as like the next gen campus.
Okay.
But it's going to be quite the structure that in total is going to be as large square footage wise or very close to the new Stratcom building.
Holy cow.
It's going to be very big.
And that'll be off base, right?
No, it's going to be on base.
Oh, that'll be on base too.
There is a project that's being planned with the city that's going to be outside the fence line. That's part of nuclear command and control, kind of center of excellence. It's going to be partnering industry with academia, with the military to do whatever they do. It's secret squirrel stuff. We can't talk about it.
And because so many non-military involved in that, is that why they're building that outside the fence?
Yeah, so it's much like other things that are going on, they want to bring in people from inside the state, and then more broadly speaking from the Midwest that are subject matter experts. And quite honestly, it can be a hassle to get all those humans on off at Air Force Base proper all the time. So I think it just made a lot more sense to put it outside the fence line, and also some of the land that, if I'm not mistaken, was donated by the Walter Scott Foundation.
How cool is that? And that's encouraging to hear. So right there are 4 significant things happening on or immediately outside related to off at Air Force Base. And, sometimes I think in recent years we talked about those couple of commands that we tried to get and we didn't get, even though we were this close to getting them. Then all of a sudden you realize that, well, this place is still moving forward and growing and expanding and becoming more and more vibrant and vital to, the Air Force and the Pentagon as a whole all the time, which is encouraging because Offutt is, pretty much about the biggest employer in the entire metro area. I think sometimes UNMC campus, depending on how you define it, might be there, but
they're
Offutt's right up there.
They're in the top 3.
Yeah, right up there. Okay, a couple other items before we wrap up here for the news. We sometimes like to really hit on the hard-hitting, chop-busting news, which is some serious journalism here. But here goes anyway. And that is, we got a new baby giraffe.
Oh, we do, yeah.
At the zoo. And I think this is pretty cool. We got a new baby giraffe.
And a new baby elephant, too.
Well, the elephant was just a few weeks ago, and he was the 3rd elephant calf born in the zoo in a little over a year. And I think those 3 elephants are like 75% of elephants born in the United States during that period of time. And we got a 4th elephant on the way. But this giraffe calf, she was born really early Sunday. She was a nice sized baby, 108 pounds. And 5'7". That takes a lot of talent for a mother to birth a 5'7" baby. But Zola, the 8-year-old mother, pulled it off. And so these high profile births continue at the zoo, and that's just so cool. And this after the week they had last week when they got all these awards.
I mean, they just had an amazing stretch run here, being best, named best zoo in the country, and then with the Asian Highlands exhibit being named the best exhibit in the country. And then finally, in its opening weekend, if I'm not mistaken, for the Wildlife Safari Park that's out in Ashland. And so that's going to be packed, but they've put a lot of money into that as well. So really I'm not sure if his title is the executive director, of the zoo, but they're continuing to add value, attractions, exhibits, and clearly they're adding to the population of the zoo. And hopefully they do this whole naming contest again, because I know that was pretty popular the last time that they did it.
Well, it's so cool for Omahans to go visit, and kudos to the zoo for doing such an important job conserving these species and taking such good care of them as they do at the zoo and at the safari. So there's your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. We have Brian Thomas in here from NAI NP Dodge, substituting for the vacationing Trenton Maggot. We're going to take our first break of the hour, and when we do come back, we're going to introduce you to Melissa Glenn from the Greater Omaha Chamber. She's going to talk to us probably about a couple things, but we're going to focus on a special training program, which is just going to be like mind-blowing and earth-shattering. You're going to want to hear all about that. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Join us to celebrate the songs and artists you've loved over
Good start. What'd you think, Devin? He's like, I'm over here watching YouTube videos.
Now you ready for your interview after Melissa?
Yeah.
You're on. Coldplay, Kelly Clarkson, LL Cool J.
That's not what I signed up for.
What grade are you in?
Am I over?
6th grade? Okay.
He's in 6th grade for about another 40 days.
Yeah, not much longer.
And then he told me he's going to be the freshman of junior high. I'm like, well, junior high is 7th and 8th grade, so does that mean you go from freshman to senior? Like that accelerated pace.
Twice in 3 years.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's good. It's good practice for when you're a high school freshman sometime.
There you go.
Which is good practice for when you're a college freshman sometime.
Devin's going to the Air Force Academy. He wants to fly the F-22.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Make sure you get good grades, dude. All right? Keep working very hard in that class if you want to fly that thing.
I told him if it doesn't work out, Mom and Dad will buy an airplane. And he can become our private pilot.
There you go.
So it probably won't be quite the same airplane as you would fly.
Maybe like a twin engine,
Okay.
like Beechcraft or something, It's enough to get us from here to Phoenix.
Yeah.
No surveillance
Hey,
systems.
That's something they probably initially trained on at the Air Force Academy. Because whenever you drive by the Air Force Academy, they always got those propeller planes that they're training on to get started.
Their first one is actually gliders.
Oh, really?
So they tow them up into the sky, and then they have
Glide
to,
you down?
You have to fly as a glider, yeah.
Now, is there anything in addition to this blockbuster event that you want to talk about?
No, I think there are just a couple of new people that I'd like to introduce.
Okay.
So Randy Norwood, our VP of Military.
Just had lunch with him and Karen Gibbler the other day.
Yeah.
He replaced Jeff Maxwell, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's mention that. Yeah, mention the new people and all that. Any other events that you want to plug? Or
Yeah, a few others. So there's the entire small business series is broken up in 3 categories. 3 Ignite series, which is the bigger workshop style, and then a financial toolkit, and then a small business toolkit. So I'll just go through all of those. The toolkits are all free.
Okay, cool. We'll do all that. Yeah. We'll get that all
Actually take
in
up the 6-7 minutes, right?
It'll go so fast.
Don't worry, if it doesn't, Jeff can dance.
I can talk about more. Yeah, you just let
I
me know.
dance.
You can dance if you want to. You can leave
this room behind.
This session's karaoke brought to you by
I don't know the words.
by Dragon Walk. Proudly located on
144th and F. We just say that because we went to lunch.
I love it. I love that place.
It is good.
Oh man, that's good. I live near
Sometimes
there.
when I'm out in the Gretna area, I bring it home because there's the mall now, the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I sometimes bring it home.
Absolutely.
It's good eating.
It is.
I was
Jalapeno chicken,
Yeah.
So when I went out on Nebraska Crossing, I usually get voodoo taco.
which is also pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then especially now they're in that bigger space, there's more seating area.
Yeah, it was like kind of middle part. Now that they're on the end cap.
Yeah,
You know, my new favorite place though is Saffron.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
really
good.
good.
Saffron's
Yeah,
in fact, we're going to mind if I mention that in the novel
Please
company's
do.
development
Yeah,
report.
please do.
You guys are on 5.
Thank you. Hey, good job.
This guy's on it.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton are right here. Weekdays from 11
It's like,
to 2.
get ready to work, people.
Radio 1110 KFAB.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals at your service from NAINP Dodge, joined by my colleague Brian Thomas, who is substituting for Trenton Magid, who is taking the weekend off, as he is wont to do. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. If you have a commercial roof and you want to have that thing maintained and preventative maintenance and all that, you definitely want to check out D&M Roofing and Siding. No one does it better. It's an amazing program. All right, we're going to bring on Melissa Glenn. She is our friend from the Greater Omaha Chamber. Going to talk about a few things happening at the Chamber. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good to
morning,
have-
Brian.
Good morning.
Hello.
It's good to have you on the show. It's been a long time since you were here.
I know. Great to be back. The
Yeah.
place looks great.
Well,
Love it. Yeah.
we
love
cleaned it up for you.
Well, we love what we've done with the place.
That's right.
Yeah, you find an extra poster.
Yeah. Other than that, it's exactly the same as
Love
the last. Actually, I don't think it's much different than when Lyle Brimser was roaming these halls. But Melissa, We've got an event coming up at the Chamber that I'm a little bit red-faced to talk about, so I'm going to let you talk about it.
Sure. I mean, we have great talent that comes in and helps
Yes, we
and
do.
volunteers with the Chamber, but this event is exceptional, Jeff, because we have a premier speaker, premier talent who's going to come in and talk about everything sales, and that happens to be the one and only Jeff Beals. We are very excited.
I think we know this guy.
Yeah.
We know this
I'm
guy.
pretty sure. Yeah.
We know this guy. Yeah.
We're very excited. We've been revamping all of the small business education that we're bringing through the Chamber, and we've really listened to our members to see what it is that's important, how we put these events together, and obviously the talent that we come in to do this training. So it's an incredible value, one. But then, Jeff, I'm going to have you kind of walk through everything that you're going to talk through. I mean, why not hear from the expert? And then, what we're also doing with our small business education is exciting because it's bringing an opportunity for small business owners to get together and talk about what it is they're doing with their business, how they're managing their business, and learning from the experts on how to make it better.
Okay, so it's April 25th.
Yes.
Is when we're going to do this. It's going to be a half-day workshop, and I'm going to be talking about sales, prospecting, how to sell and compete in a down economy. It's not really a down economy in Omaha yet at this point in time, but a lot of us are concerned about some things that are on the horizon. I mean, you see the news, the interest rates, Amazon laying a bunch of people off. So it looks like, and with inflation, it looks like at some point in time in the not too distant future, we're probably going to experience a global recession, and we'll probably feel it to some level here in Omaha. So one of the things I'm really going to do in this workshop is not only prospecting for new business and landing new business during good and normal times, but what you have to do a little bit differently if things, and hopefully it's only for a short while, but if things go south. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I've already started working on it, putting together material, even though it's a month away. And it'll be interactive.
He's very excited.
I am, yeah. Well, and this is fun because it's open to the public.
Yeah.
And normally when I do sales training, it's in some other city. You fly in and I have a great time and I get to know people, but it's for a company.
Yes.
Or it's for an association.
Yep.
This is one where it's open to anyone who wants to sign up, and so I'm looking forward to having a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds here in Omaha at this program in April.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited. It's open to everyone, but if you're valued chamber member, you also have a fantastic price point. So it's $75 for the whole day, or $150 also gets you a VIP luncheon with the one and only Jeff Beals, in addition to a networking happy hour that will take place after the workshop. So it's an incredible value, guys. Am I laying it on thick here? Because it's really good.
He's definitely blushing.
Yeah.
So I will say, though, I think this is fantastic that the Chamber's doing this. As a commercial broker, I spend a lot of time around small business owners, and while they are experts in their craft, or they're trying to become experts and differentiate and be the best possible version in business that they can be, it's a lot of this training that goes into it. It's kind of the back of the house stuff that people don't think about. And when you look at the labor force participation rate that constantly gets reported on, well, at least like monthly gets reported on, you have to become more productive.
Absolutely.
And so the training that Jeff provides helps with that productivity.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to try really hard to do that. And of course, I know inside his head right now, Brian's thinking, Jeff is my next door neighbor at the office. I wouldn't pay to have lunch with him, but
he actually makes me carry his bags and stuff. So I'll be there too as his driver, I guess.
So if someone does want to have lunch with me and do a half-day workshop on how to become better at selling and winning over new clients, how do they sign up for this program on April 25th?
Right on our website. So you go to omahachamber.org/events and scroll down to April 25th. You'll see Jeff's face. You'll see the sales workshop and a lot of other details that are included in the event description.
Well, if you sign up, I promise I'm going to make it a good and beneficial program for you. But that's not the only thing that you guys have going on at the Chamber, Melissa. What else is coming up?
Yeah. So we are, again, revamping our small business education. So outside of the bigger workshops that we're going to have, the sales workshop, we'll also have a social media workshop, which is literally what are all of the tools that are out there? What could you be using? How do you use them? How do you implement them in your business?
Which one's the best, right?
Right, exactly.
For their business.
Yes, exactly. And, how to maximize your dollars and your time. And then we'll have some more leadership, style workshops that are going to be happening later in the fall. But the thing that we're also going to be adding this year, which I'm really excited about, are 2 toolkits. So a financial toolkit and a small business toolkit. And that is exactly what it sounds like. So in the financial toolkit, we'll have, and these are all free. Everything in the toolkit is free. But it's, what are the different types of loans that are available for a small business? What is underwriting? How does it work? How do you have to prepare to get a loan as a small business owner? And by the time you know that you need a loan, you're too late. You really need to start planning for this ahead of time. So we'll talk through all of that. And then we talk about the financial health of the business and the business owner because those coincide. So we'll talk about what is wealth planning, what are benefits, even things like credit card transactions. How do you save money? How do you make sure you're in compliance? And then under the small business toolkit is literally everything else. So marketing, customer service, procurement, we've got everything else, HR under that umbrella. And one thing to really stress here is that these events are open to any chamber member. It's free. Non-chamber member, there is a cost, but the business owners will get massive value out of this. Again, not only from the knowledge, but the ability to connect with one another, but also the ability to send their teams. So we're talking about workforce, how important it is to develop the teams, keep the people that you already have, make them better. These are fantastic opportunities to do that.
Well, we've got just less than a minute left, and I want to give you a chance to kind of close with anything else that you want us to know about, but chamber news.
It's really exciting time at the chamber right now. We've had several new people join the team, so I would just really encourage everyone to meet them. Randy Norwood, so he's our military guy, our AVP of Military Services. Merrick Burtek just joined as the YP leader, so we just had
Young
a big
Professionals
Summit. Yep, Young Professional Summit. And I have to give a shout out to my team, the membership team. They're fantastic. So you'll hear from Jesse Moore, Mark Trawick, and Nicola DeStefano reaching out to members and making sure that we're providing the value and connections that our members need.
Yeah, a lot of people, when they think of the chamber, they think of networking opportunities, which they're great at, or they think of economic development, which they do a fantastic job. But don't forget, the chamber is a good place to go for education and development and becoming better at doing your business.
Yep. It's all about creating value.
That's right.
Right.
So with that, Melissa, Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. And like I said, I hope people come and join my workshop on April 25th. You can register for that by going to the Greater Omaha Chamber website, and it'll be a good program, help you sell more and do more business. But thanks for joining us, Melissa.
Thanks,
Melissa.
Really appreciate it.
Melissa Glenn, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce. When we come back from the middle of the show break, Brian and I have a bunch of things on the docket that we want to talk about, projects and developments and news and best places to work and all sorts of things. So don't go away. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Brian Thomas substituting for Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
This is Darcy with Dingman's.
Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Great
Yeah.
Great job.
Thank you. Can I get a picture for our social media? It looks like, all right. Awesome.
And then send it to me. I'll put it on our Grow Omaha
You got
Facebook
it.
page. Yeah.
You got it. You want to take the picture? Do the honors? Thanks, bud.
An amazing result. You've also voted as first place Best of Omaha for the past
right.
15 years. We want to say thank you for choosing the Dingman family and our incredible technicians to repair your vehicle.
Good Jays.
At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, bud.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
QC his work. See if we get to A+.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
You got it. Do you want me to wait or?
It's
I can, wait. I'll just wait.
You can stick around as long as you want.
Yeah. I'll just wait.
We like having a live studio audience.
Yeah. It's kind of fun.
But on cue, you
have to laugh out loud uproariously.
Got it. Okay.
One of us says, I've always wanted to go in, even though I hate sitcoms, I'd like to sit in on one and just see what the sign
Or it says applause now. Or laugh.
because they'll say the dumbest joke and everything.
It's like is it the Progressive is doing the TV Dad?
Oh yeah. Which is kind of a funny series.
It is kind of a funny series.
Thanks, TV Dad.
I still like that.
One guy's like, well, I'm his father. I said the same thing.
But I'm on TV. Yeah.
You're not a TV Dad.
Is it Nationwide Insurance? Like you're becoming your parents.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, is that Nationwide or is it? I love that.
I don't know, Farmer. I don't know what they are.
I love that guy though.
Yeah.
Especially when
He's like,
he's
he goes,
correcting
this is serious. He goes,
you own your home.
you're
It's no longer
cleaning your
in
trash
name.
cans.
With free hookup service.
He's like, don't stare at the bushes. They're a mess.
see how everyone else in the elevator is facing forward?
I love the one that it was maybe a year or two ago when it was on, where they made fun of people for using paper boarding passes at the airport. And I use paper boarding passes still. I just, for some reason, I'm always like, what if my phone dies? Or I have it on both. I've got it on the phone, but that's just the backup. I use the paper.
I know.
I can put it right in my shirt pocket. I always wear a collar shirt to the airport, so I have my shirt pocket, which is also being like your parents.
Hey, whatever.
But I like it when they make fun of like the.
It's like when they go to the movies and they're like, all right, everybody needs to go potty before we go in.
Or there's someone's like, everyone have a straight line.
Yes. Like, move it in, people. Move it in.
This segment is sponsored by Devin's Thoughts.
Devin's Thoughts, I'm sure they are interesting and random.
They are very random.
Through your vehicle as
Someday, Devin, people might pay to get those thoughts.
That's right.
Safe and certified repairs.
You keep doing what you're doing, they might pay you for your thoughts someday.
We've been voted
Hopefully more than a penny.
Hopefully a lot. Penny for your thoughts.
At Dingman's, we'd rather be the best than
100K for your thoughts?
I would.
Dingman's.com.
That's just one thought.
Yeah.
So apparently there was a candy factory that exploded. Look at that. It's terrible. Right in
Pennsylvania, yeah.
Corey Glenn's the mayor of
Why not Hershey?
He told Fox and Friends Weekend.
I would say like 40% of the homes.
Oh my gosh! Oh, that wow! It's just spontaneous or
damaged of some sort.
Explosion.
Not
Wow.
many mobile homes in the particular area where the storm hit, but
Jeez
but a
Louise.
lot of
all sorts of disasters. We're listening to the tornadoes on the radio right now and watching the explosion on TV.
Not in Omaha.
Fort Mississippi sits my city is
We hope.
If you want to be safe in this country,
Come here.
come to Omaha.
If you'd like to be safe. All of a sudden,
Yeah. You know, Locust is in.
Yeah, Locust is big.
Maybe shouldn't have switched to
One of those earthquakes split 72nd Street in two.
God, if we had earthquakes here, I'd be.
There was one supposedly in the 1800s, before early 1800s. It was centered in Missouri, and supposedly it was like I've read about it on a couple different occasions. Huge, and that had there been buildings and all that sort of thing, there would have been all sorts of destruction and all that. But I don't think they've had anything significant like that since that was early 1800s. I think they call it the Madrid fault. The Madrid fault or something.
No, I wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
Driven by any of Anderson Convenience Market's 8 metro
But
area locations.
it's been over a couple hundred years.
To change. Quality
Hopefully not saying we're due.
I think
away from Washington.
I think we're more of like, my guess is this is probably more of like a every 1,000 or a couple thousand year type of cycle in this part of the country.
That works for me.
Yeah. We'll be long gone hopefully before the next one.
Detergent package, resulting in the
Yeah.
best long-term care for your engine. Anderson Convenience
So we've got, I got the novel report.
Now, with quality cargo fuels.
And it's going to be kind of mostly promotional. I'll just kind of sling a few things out there. And then we've got the commercial real estate activity. We've got best places to work. We've got best places to work. We've got that Fremont pork plant. And I also noticed that I drove by the Mutual of Omaha construction site yesterday. They're bringing it up to street level. I figured they would start driving the piles, because when they did the first National Tower 20 years ago, as a construction geek, I went and watched it every week, and they did these concrete piers that were like, I think like 25, 30 feet in diameter, and they went down 60, 70 feet to bedrock. And they had multiple of those. And then they had a huge concrete pad that was like taller than this building that sat on top of those. So I assume they're going to do that with this tower because it's even taller.
Yeah.
But what's interesting though is they're filling it in. So you figure that, because they're going to have to dig down to bedrock anyway, so I'm surprised they're filling it up to street level to do all this stuff. I'm sure they have their reasons.
I'm sure too.
Yeah.
I'm not the one building this.
Yeah, they know what they're doing better than
I'm sure it's architectural.
1 minute.
Yeah.
All right.
My equity with home title lock, you should too.
Home Title Lock, they put a virtual shield around your home.
This kind of goes when you look at this.
They detect activity or
You like look at this multifamily sales volume.
First things first.
2013 all the way to now. It's like
That's pretty impressive.
And you get 30 days of protection at HomeTitleLock.com.
So
Who provides this data? Where did it come from?
it's all from CoStar.
Oh, it's CoStar.
Yeah.
Then it comes time to get that home loan. You know,
We're gonna get one candid shot of you guys speaking.
Oh, okay.
If you see the paparazzi over here.
Right now, we're doing it.
Make sure you put me through an Instagram photo.
Okay. Or do you want to do it when the show starts so it looks real?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because if we pose it, it might look fake. Even though Brian's quite the actor.
Do you want the makeup filter? Is that
Yeah. Actually, I want the one with kitty ears.
You got it. You got it. Done.
Not on TikTok.
Jeff, time to dance, monkey.
Here we go.
All right.
News Radio 1110 KFAB is everywhere you are. Download our free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals at your service, sitting next to Brian Thomas of NAINP Dodge, substituting for Trenton Magnin. We let Trenton take a weekend off here or there. God only knows what he does in his free time.
Yeah, I heard he might be a reason, contributing cause to the victory last night for Creighton.
He may have played a role.
Yeah,
he may
can
have
neither
played a
confirm
role
nor deny
in
that.
the Creighton game. But we can't say for sure. I mean, a guy like him, has certain security protocols for where he is and where he travels.
Does, yeah.
And
We could tell you, but then we'd have to kill you. That.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Well, we're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. And Dingman's is one of those places that you meet by accident, literally, in many cases. But you end up being glad you did because they treat you so well. I remember one time, it's been several years ago now, and hopefully I'm not in another one of these, but several years ago, some guy hit the back of my car really hard. And it was like one of those, hit it diagonally. The force came from the back left to the front right, and that thing was messed up. I can't believe the insurance company didn't total it, but they didn't. And so Dingman's worked on it, and it's like it never happened. They just do such good work. 4 metro area locations, Dingman's Collision Center. Also offer mechanical services, too.
Might need it after hitting a pothole the other day.
I tell you, some of these potholes.
It was the size of a Kia.
They're more like pot Grand Canyons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know they're working on that. The mayor addressed that, too.
Yeah, and I feel for the city crews because it sounds like they're having a hard time even getting asphalt supplied in order to fill said potholes.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, you got the labor shortage. It's hard to get people to work on these crews. So I know they're working their tails off, but nevertheless, it is frustrating when you run into a pot canyon.
Yeah, I hit one the other day. I'm like, I'm going to have to go see my dentist.
Yeah. I can hook you up with someone.
Yeah,
my brother, Greg, is a dentist. He might be able to take care of you. Hey, this is our moment for the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is the premier real estate developer in this part of the country. Jay Noddle, who runs the outfit, is on this show quite a bit and always has interesting things to say about the various developments. And, Noddle Companies here in town is doing River's Edge, Builders District, Steel Ridge, Village Point Medical Campus, but probably their most famous development is Exarban Village. Mm-hmm. And, at Exarban Village, Saffron, a great Indian restaurant there. Melissa Glenn from the Chamber, she was telling us during the break that that's one of her favorite places to go. And speaking of Exarban Village, as we reported a while back, Toast, the restaurant software company, moved from downtown to an office space in Exarban Village, and Ren's Display. Mm-hmm. They do a lot of interior corporate branding. They're one of our Omaha newsletter sponsors. Anyway, they did it. And if you want to see what Toast looks like, go to the Grow Omaha Facebook page. Yeah. And we have several interior shots on there that Ren's did for Toast. It's it's like the best of a Silicon Valley office with an Omaha feel.
They do high quality work.
Amazing
high
stuff.
Quality work.
Yeah. And that is your Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. If you want to learn more about Noddle, just go to, appropriately enough, noddlecompanies.com. Brian, you've got some statistics and data about how the commercial real estate market is performing lately that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, so kind of going along with that development and then just broader sales as we approach the end of Q1 for this year. For all our listeners out there, just to kind of give you an update of where we're at, really from an Omaha Metro, which includes some of Council Bluffs. We are already just in the first quarter up to 80 total sales for just a little bit over, from a value perspective, of about $35.8 billion that has been spent thus far, with the leading sector of commercial real estate, of CRE, being retail, with 40 sales just in retail alone. And so I think for a lot of people, they've been asking, what are the hottest sectors currently coming out of this first quarter for commercial real estate? Clearly, I think the pacing has been retail, followed closely by industrial. Office is still a laggard. And then multifamily is definitely a laggard. There's only been 8, 12-plus unit complexes that have changed hands from a sales perspective. But I think pressure from the Fed's decision to continue raising the rates, as well as impacting commercial lending right now, is definitely kind of weighing it down.
Well, we also want to take a moment to congratulate some Omaha companies. Baird Home Law Firm and the Greater Omaha Chamber have announced the 2023 Best Places to Work in Omaha winners. And we have 2 categories: companies with 200 or fewer employees. Number 1, Get Med Staffing. 2, Unity Med. I think I pronounced that right. Mm-hmm. CrossMed Healthcare, number 3. Number 4, SupportWorks. And 5, J.E. Dunn, the construction company. And then companies with more than 200 employees, number 1 was LRS Healthcare. 2, FNIC. 3, Primetime Healthcare. 4, Signature Performance. And 5, Carson Group. And then there was a special category, the Sustained Excellence Award, which goes to a company or an organization that has repeatedly ranked very high, and that is Midland's Choice this year. So kudos to them. And one other thing before we take our final break: Holstone Farms is renovating and expanding its pork processing plant in Fremont, 900 South Platte Avenue in Fremont, adding a second shift, doubling its capacity to 5.6 million pigs a year. The plant currently has 1,300 workers and is expected to add up to 1,000 more workers when the expansion is done. All right, we're going to take our final break of the hour. And when we come back, Brian and I are going to bring you the Turner Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list. It's going to be hard for us to squeeze in all of this news into the short period of time we'll have. So we're going to hustle. We're going to try. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
So we have, so we'll go through the restaurant stuff that was in the newsletter and the retail. And then, and actually, I might even move this stuff to the top. Trenton is representing this company, Mocha Coffee. Did you get that email yesterday?
Yeah.
Out of, looks like they're all in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then the Brunch Box, new restaurant opening downtown. These 2 have not made the newsletter yet. Mm-hmm. So maybe hit those first.
Yeah.
So do that. And then,
if you do, our experienced team will help you through the process.
and then basically, Brian, like, and even me think, like, if you want to elaborate on or comment on, or normally that's what we do during this round. So whatever feels natural to you.
Watch the world's best horses and riders compete for
I'm sorry, guys, it's allergies.
Oh, I'm right too. There's something in this building that I'm, and I'm not an allergic kind of guy, but every time I'm in this building, I'm like, in fact, I got to the point now where I sometimes bring a Kleenex with me when I come to
Seriously.
KFAB.
It's just this week. I don't know.
Well, all some of the trees are just about ready to start blooming right now.
I think so.
I took a walk the other night, and there tons of them have nice sized buds on them already. Yeah.
I just read,
Real pain in the rear.
this is the first year in over 10 that we haven't hit 70 by now.
Really?
Wow.
I guess we haven't. So in calendar year 2023, we've never seen a 7-0 yet?
Now with savings on select
No.
PCs powered by the latest 12
And
That's weird.
Plus, get deals on select accessories and free shipping on everything. Save now by calling
Last year we snuck one day in February.
Yeah. A lot of times we'll get a warm
And
one
then
in
the
February.
previous 9 years.
Wisconsin,
Zero.
Minnesota, and Illinois.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, maybe when I do that one, why don't you say the location?
Yeah.
Okay.
Management for commercial property. Provide preventative
So it'll be their 4, 9, 11, 12 location. According to this here.
If you look earlier, I added those up. It's 18.
11, 18, yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't
All
scroll
right,
right
here
now.
we go.
Okay, here we go.
This is Nebraska's news, weather, weather and traffic station.
You're going to have about 6 minutes.
KFAB and KFAB.com and iHeartRadio.
And it's time for the Turner Construction Lightning Round. Jeff Beals and Brian Thomas are here to bring it to you. Brian is substituting for Trenton. Brian is my colleague at NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. And this lightning round is brought to you by Turner Construction, one of the world's most respected and renowned and well-known construction firms with locations and projects all around the planet. But here in Omaha, they're a big deal too. I mean, Omaha is a very important market for Turner Construction. In large part, they came here because of the Sarpy County data center. Billions of dollars worth of construction right there. But they're doing big projects, medium projects, little projects. And so if you're looking for a contractor for anything that you would want to build, look to Turner Construction. These folks have a bench. They have a deep bench of talent and experience and resources that they can draw on. But they've got employees here in Omaha who are from Omaha, who are interwoven into the Omaha economy and the Omaha construction market. So thanks to Turner Construction for making this possible. We got a live studio audience here. 6th grader Devin Thomas is joining us, son of Brian. Who's with us. And let's get into this, Brian. We've got some news for everyone. Oklahoma Joe's, which is a barbecue place in Exarban, is going to open up a second location in a former Greenbelly restaurant space, southeast corner of 204th and Pacific. Muchachos, a popular New Mexico-inspired barbecue place out of Lincoln, is getting closer to opening its Omaha location on 13th Street in Little Bohemia. Opening date is early April.
Yeah, they're like 2 weeks away.
It's close. And this is a place that during one of the football games last year, broadcaster Todd Blackledge visited. It was one of those little segments like when you came back for a commercial break. Location. Kind of fun. Yeah. La Isla restaurant opened at 24th and N Street. N is in Nancy in South Omaha. Specializes in Nayarit-style Mexican food. That's from the west coast of Mexico. The restaurant has existing locations in South Sioux City, Nebraska, and Storm Lake, Iowa. And so we're glad to have them in Omaha now. So, Brian, we're at our sales meeting at NP Dodge this week, and we learned that there are a couple new bars coming to the Capital District and 10th and Capital. They'll be in the same building as Texas de Brazil.
Yep. So, there are going to be some interesting themes. If you can think back to the martini bars with the Sinatra days, right? They kind of higher end, So one of them, like the concept as we understand it, is going to be a martini bar. And then with the other one is kind of like this whole music themed, which we haven't quite got the intel yet on, is it a specific type of music? Is it going to be something that's going to be, multimodal with different genres? But I'm excited to see that it's going to be, both of those different concepts are coming to that area. Yeah, the only thing we don't know the names yet, but we know they have existing locations in Iowa City and Des Moines, Iowa. So we'll stay tuned for that. Okay, so our friend Trenton Magid, we may be giving him the weekend off at Omaha, but he's still working really hard. He is representing a new to the market coffee drive-through chain called Mocha Coffee that is actively looking for sites in Omaha. Yeah, and this will be their fourth state in terms of expansion into this drive-through coffee concept. If memory serves me right, they began in Madison, Wisconsin, where they have currently 7 locations. They've got 4 locations in Rochester, Minnesota, and then the other state that they're in is in Illinois. And so as they have like a 20th or 19th location that's coming soon, and I don't know if it's Batavia, Illinois, but I know that they're actively looking with Trenton to get at least a 20th and 21st location, which would be clearly an expansion for that coffee. So pretty cool. Another coffee chain coming to town. The Brunch Box, a new restaurant called The Brunch Box, is planning on opening in June at 1308 Jackson Street on the west side of the Old Market. This is a space that was once occupied by Clean Juice. And when they call themselves the Brunch Box, they're not kidding. It's breakfast, brunch type food. They won't even open till 10 a.m. So it's not the type of place I have this habit sometimes of getting up really early and going to breakfast and all that. This is brunch, man. And a lot of days it's only going to be 10 to 3. But on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, they'll be open late. Like you can even get brunch for dinner there. So it'll be kind of fun to check that out when it opens. I'm a big Brenner
You're a Brenner?
Oh, yeah. So we're doing breakfast for dinner at least once a week.
So you're one of those families that are like, we're making scrambled eggs and pancakes for dinner tonight?
And bacon and sausage.
My mom would sometimes do that when we were kids. We always kind of loved it.
It's the breakfast, and I know you'll second me on this. Breakfast is the best meal of the day.
Oh, totally. I absolutely love breakfast. We got a new Swimtastic Swim Center, which is under construction, 192nd
third
and
location, if
Maple.
I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. They're also in Wisconsin.
They are, yeah.
Florida.
Yeah, it's a franchise concept.
Yeah, I had no idea that they were. I thought it was just a local thing, and I started doing a little research about it.
Yeah, they opened one in La Vista.
So we talked about the Capital District earlier with those new bars, but remember Lighthouse Pizza was there, and unfortunately that location didn't make it. And so Frank's Pizzeria is planning to open in that space in the Capital District this spring. Frank's Pizzeria is expanding all over. Like last week or 2 weeks ago, we said they were going to Nebraska Crossing.
Now they're also going to be a fellow veteran friend of ours who is purchased. I know it's also in a newsletter, but the Bellevue, formerly Leopard Lanes, is rebranded as the Alley, and I know he's expanding in that as well. And so, Frank's Pizzeria is going everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's good product. I mean, they have the original one at 132nd and Dodge. There's one in Ralston. The one Brian mentioned going into the bowling alley, which will be opening this spring, and Nebraska Crossing. So you can get Frank's on, and then you throw in the Capital District. Yep. So Frank's has taken over the world. And good for them. Wine, Beer, and Spirits has officially opened its Old Market location, opened earlier this week. 6,500 square foot space at 11th and Jones, the old Thunderhead brewery place. And finally, Rexius Nutrition has leased 1,800 square feet at 84th and Q. The music's playing, which means we are done. Brian Thomas, thank you for joining us.
A pleasure.
My colleague Brian Thomas from NAINP Dodge, substituting for Trenton. We have been brought to you by Turner Construction, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing and Siding. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.